You have entered the Chronic's rabbit hole. And Swifties, Chronicans, welcome to or welcome back to the channel. Alanna and I are very excited to get back to finishing off, really, what we need to do for folklore and evermore. When we asked on our Patreon which kind of content we had to do in this era, this was the leading candidate, had the most likes and the most suggestions as well. We have seen some Zane Lowe's interviews already with Apple Music. He does a phenomenal job.
He sure does.
Even if they speak in a different language, he happened to do an incredible one with BTS that we even saw recently too. So like, he is the guy for amazing interviews, someone that I even admire a lot too. So it's really cool to know he did get to sit down with Taylor even a couple times that I've seen in his past. So that's really exciting. And this is completely, or not completely, but the title is The Songwriting Process on Evermore. So they'll be focusing more on the Evermore album, most likely, because it's the one that maybe just released at this time. Yep, because it was December 15th when it was released, so we know it was on her birthday. So this is literally a couple days after her birthday and the release of Evermore.
Wow, that's insane.
So that's really why you guys said wait till after and all that as well.
This is so cool. I'm really excited to get into this. And like, she would have been just on the edge of her seat and wanting to talk about this album like nonstop.
Oh, totally.
If this released on her birthday and this interview is 2 days after her birthday, that's all she wanted to do, is just like talk about it. Because I know when you create something and it's your baby and you've released it, that's all you want to do, is you just want to talk about it. So I'm so excited to see all of her like creativity coming out for us to see with Zane, who is the best person to bring out that kind of like vibe, like we've seen him before. He just brings out the best in people because he just interacts so well. So I'm really excited to see this interview from Apple Music.
What I first loved about Taylor was her beats.
Yeah,
Honestly,
absolutely.
what I've learned to love and what's kept me with her is her songwriting.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not even close, y'all. Like she is Hall of Fame right off the bat. Once you actually start objectively looking at her, you already knew she already was a GOAT because of how well, since her debut, she's been actually writing incredible lyrics. So I love that this is Apple Music's Songwriter of the Year, Taylor Swift, and has been one of music's preeminent and most decorative songwriters for more than a decade. With her latest records, the surprise releases of Folklore and Evermore, which is awesome, she laid bare the magic behind perhaps her biggest strength, ditching the big radio ready chart topping sparkle of her past releases for bare bones indie folk instrumentation, stripping her songs down to the very studs. Watch as she sits down with Zane Lowe for the 2020 Apple Music Awards. And that's exactly what I was trying to say as to what first captured me. But if you actually understand Taylor and get why she's got this following, there is substance behind the sparkle.
There really is. Like, I remember the first song that we heard from Taylor, because what brought me to Taylor was you. Because you were like, hey, honey, we're doing Taylor Swift today. And I was like, ugh, okay.
Her fate changed forever.
My fate changed forever as we watched Fate of Ophelia.
The fate of my baby.
Fate of my baby. And it was crazy because I remember that day, like vividly, because you're like, we're doing Taylor Swift today. And I vehemently was like, right? Like it was the biggest body sigh.
Yep.
Because I, for some reason, was so against listening to Taylor. And coming to her and being able to hear her for the first time with Fate of Ophelia, it was the beats and how catchy the music was, and just the songwriting of it, and how she, like, I love a good juxtaposition.
Yes, you do.
And so when Taylor turned Fate of Ophelia into The Fate of Ophelia, I was like, oh my God, I'm in love. I'm
instantly
done. Instantly.
And it was the first time for me that we hit an artist where I even looked at you and I knew there was something that was going to unite us with her.
Yeah.
Like even more. So that's also just why we're so excited for
I'm so excited for her storytelling.
Songwriting, right? So it's good they're diving into that.
Yeah.
But you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, here you go. Hands are out. She's ready to grab some.
Taylor Swift is Apple Music Songwriter of the Year for 2020. Congratulations and thank you for bringing us not one but two incredible albums this year. These records just
Would you prefer to have it? It's gonna be in English, but is it still nicer to have it?
Yeah, I like having the subtitles
Yeah,
because I can't hear things without seeing it with my eyes.
yeah, and that's fair enough. We live in a household where subtitles are even on
The
our movies
TV.
and all that. So like, what can you do?
Taylor Swift
There we
is
go.
Apple Music Songwriter of the Year for 2020. Congratulations and thank you for bringing us not one but two incredible albums this year. These
She must be
records just
home.
steeped in imagery and escapism and romance and heartache and just remarkable examples of you as a songwriter we've always known, but masterclass stuff. So thanks so much for showing up twice this year, Taylor.
Thank you for saying that.
Aw.
Yeah, it's amazing. We just put out Evermore yesterday. So I'm in this state of like
Wow.
exhaustion but relief but very proud. So
I was going to ask you actually how it feels because I mean you've done this a few times now, working up the morning after a record's finally come out.
No,
And
no, you guys need to understand. Life is about being there first
Yeah.
and doing it quick and doing it right. Not just being first and being wrong, but the fact that albums out 13th, 14th they interview, 15th. No, they literally, if they're saying this was released yesterday, so then the interview is done on the 14th and then it's released on the 15th.
Yeah.
It's very hard to do, honey.
It's so hard.
I'm
It
just- I'm
is
trying
like
to, like, for those that don't make content, what they just pulled off there, insane.
it's insane.
Yeah, truly it is.
And it's like,
I don't want to keep killing the momentum, but truly
Oh.
it is.
but very proud. So
I was going to ask you actually how it feels because I mean you've done this a few times now, working up the morning after a record's finally come out, and I think as fans we all know the effort and the energy that you put into not just writing the songs and getting them complete, but preparing the release of the music and ensuring that we're as engaged as possible. So when it's all out and about and that whole process finally kind of comes to an end for the time being, how do you feel the next morning? Are you well rested? Is the energy too intense? What's the situation?
I feel differently today than I felt the day after releasing Folklore, because even the day after releasing Folklore, Aaron and I were still bouncing ideas back and forth. And we just knew we were going to keep writing music. I didn't know if it was for an
Right.
album of mine or Aaron and Justin Vernon have a really amazing project called Big Red Machine. So we kept writing thinking maybe we were going to do some Big Red Machine stuff, but the things that we ended up writing really sounded more like a continuation of Folklore. So when I put out Folklore, I remember just feeling so proud and happy, but still like foot on the gas, like let's keep going. This is fun. I'm not finished with this. And everybody, all my collaborators, we all felt the same way about it. So we just kept going. With this one, I have this
insane.
feeling of sort of quiet conclusion and sort of this weird serenity of like we did what we set out to do, and we're all really proud of it, and that feels really, really nice.
I'm not surprised because I feel like the stories, to some degree, there's some conclusion in this album too, from where you began on Folklore, and there's so much closure on this new record. And I want to dive into aspects of that, and I just feel like the future must feel wide open to you right now. But I want to refer back to the Long Pond sessions, and
Okay,
Jack-
before the long pond session, just so I don't lose this, can you imagine, y'all? We're all guilty of this, not wanting to put it out till it's done.
yeah.
She just got album of the year while releasing it, not knowing they're not
feeling
finished.
done. Like that's insane. That would be like releasing something and it's like your fourth draft. It's not quite done yet, but it's almost there. Right? Like,
She's on a whole different level, y'all.
man.
she must feel wide open to you right now. But I want to refer back to the Long Pond sessions, and Jack Antonoff said something really poignant, which was, I've never made an album like this. I don't know if I ever will again.
Yes.
And in your mind and in your heart, you knew you wanted to carry on and there was music to be done. But it felt like for others, assuming that Jack was genuine because he's an honest human, he wasn't sure there would be an Evermore or a chance to work like this again.
True,
Was there a sort of a melancholy to the end
Yeah.
of Folklore?
Not really. I was just so happy that my world felt opened up creatively. There was a point where I got to as a writer who only wrote very diaristic songs that I felt it was unsustainable from my future moving
Yes,
forward.
I agree.
It
It's
felt
so smart.
like too hot of a microscope. It felt a bit like I was like, why am I just like if I'm writing about my life and all it is, on my bad days, I would feel like I was loading a cannon of clickbait when that's not what I want for my life. And I think that when I put out folklore, I felt like if I can do this thing where I get to create characters in this mythological American town or wherever I imagine them, and I can reflect my own emotions onto what I think they might be feeling, and I can create stories and characters and arcs and all this stuff, but I don't have to have it feel like when I put out an album, I'm just like giving tabloids ammunition and stuff.
Yeah, there's so much judgment that would come along with every record.
Yeah, and constantly kind of like examining yourself in a way that feels like I felt like there would be a point in my life where I could no longer really do that and still maintain a place of like good mental health and emotional health and all that. So what I felt after we put out folklore was like, oh wow, people are into this too. This thing that feels really good for my life and feels really good for my creativity. It feels
There's a
really
way
good
out
for them too. Oh my god! I saw a lane for my future that I.
What a great feeling!
It was a real breakthrough moment of excitement and happiness, and I kind of referred to writing these songs as a flotation device because obviously this year is hell on earth for everyone, and seeing what your fellow humans are going through. The Long Pond studio sessions was the first time that Jack, Aaron, and I were in the same room, and I still haven't been in the same room with Justin Vernon, who has now collaborated on 2 albums heavily, and we've talked, but we've just never been in the same space together. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, how was that experience when you first caught up together and saw each other having made this amazing body of work? Because we saw it on camera. There was this giddiness and this idea of like, wow, we did it, we made it, now we can celebrate it and make it real to some degree. But what was going on behind the camera? That's what I think we all want to know, is when you all first saw each other before the cameras rolled, what was happening then? Because that's a truly human experience that I don't think you or anyone has ever been through before, where the stakes were so high for remote recording and then you all come together and it's like, wow, how do we even translate this?
It was such a strange thing because we'd been on, group chats and
this is moving at such a nice, genuine pace. It's almost hard to not, like, you almost just want to let them keep talking, right?
Absolutely.
So like, I could pause every single time. I'm trying to not pause every single statement that is being made because they're both just like on such a good wavelength together right now.
They
too.
are.
He knows what questions to ask.
He does.
An artist, right?
Right, and he gets in like he's so like genuine with everything that he's doing that him and the artist is like a wall gets broken down and it's like 2 friends hanging out.
Well, and then he helps you not go on rabbit holes.
Exactly.
Right? So it's
Keeps you on track.
Yeah, it definitely does.
It was such a strange thing because we'd been on, group chats and it just wasn't ever the combination yet. So the combination of the 3 of us was like this strange feeling of, I remember I walked into the studio, they were already rehearsing. And cool. I walked in and it was just like they were a band. It wasn't that feeling of awkwardness between them because I guess they'd had their moment. I walked in and I heard them playing August or something and I was just sitting there thinking, this is exactly how I would have wanted it. I would have wanted this, reunion or union at all to happen in a moment of me walking in on them creating music and rehearsing and playing instruments. And it just, I just started rehearsing too. And it was such a vibe. And it couldn't really have been, I couldn't have asked for more under the circumstances. It's so fun to make a record when you've got people in the room and you've got that energy that's bouncing off the walls. But if you can't do that, this was a pretty close second.
Yeah, I mean, no one's been able to do that. Very rarely have people been able to get into a room and get that tactility and that chemistry that we all, I guess, to some degree became so accustomed to. And, I think about this year, you talked about it and you put it in the perfect framework. But it's also taught us a lot about stillness and what it is to be still and what it is to reflect and to be comfortable in our own skin. And I think human beings by nature search for coping mechanisms and distractions to avoid that. And in your case, I've always felt that you've moved so fast. And even if you've taken some time between projects, it's clear you're working on things all the time. What has this process of working on folklore and Evermore, busy year for you as a songwriter, but also has it taught you something about stillness and has it altered your attitude toward pace and productivity and what motivates you?
Yes,
Before answering that one, the one thing I just wanted to acknowledge was just how much relief she had when she was able to not have the microscopes so much on her with her
Yeah,
storytelling, and even just how much it really can change a person when you're so used to working with fiction or nonfiction and then switching it up, how it really
absolutely.
can just like change your whole life. So you could just see that shift, because we're into our music where we've been diving into all of the other stuff.
Yeah,
So it's all the deep stuff we've been taking in right now, right? It's
absolutely.
actually been very heavy for us,
It has been
right?
because like it's so personal, it's so
Yeah.
introspective.
Oh, yeah.
So coming into something that's a storytelling type sphere where you get to release yourself in a way where it's a little bit more cathartic, but in a safe, enclosed
Mhm.
space of fantasy. It's a whole different perspective on the music that you create, and you can see that she's like almost enjoying talking about it,
Oh, she is thoroughly.
right, thoroughly.
Yeah.
So it's not like, hey, so this song, it's about your ex, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah,
Okay.
about that, right? So
Mhm.
like this one, she gets to be like, yeah, Betty, you know, she went through some stuff. Yeah.
We can both
We
relate.
can both relate. So it's a ton of fun.
Yeah.
Stillness, and has it altered your attitude toward pace and productivity and what motivates you?
yes, it has changed everything about the way that I do what I do. It gave me a perspective of, I was pretty upset when my shows all got canceled and I realized I wasn't going to be able to connect with my fans in the way that I'm traditionally used to. Um, just a normal human interaction I couldn't do anymore, you know?
Especially after an album like Lover, which is just like such a communal, joyous experience. I can imagine it's like, wow, I'm going to get to bring this to life, you know?
Yeah, and I think we all felt that way. I think the fans felt that way too, where we were just sitting there going, "Wow, I think that would have been fun." Um, but what it did was, when you plan a live show, I guess at least when I do it, I'm writing interstitial music. I'm planning
Mm.
um this set piece
Yeah.
goes off while this goes on, while we distract them over here, and this song calls for this and this song calls for that, and that's all creating. And I don't think I really assigned very much merit to the fact that that is creating, when you're
Mhm.
taking music you've already made and an
Mhm.
album that you've already made, and you're choreographing, and you're setting up a live spectacle that is taking up so much emotional, creative, and imagination based bandwidth in your brain. So if you take all of that away, what happens? And I guess I learned that it's very possible for me to write more music with that creative bandwidth. As musicians, we're so used to immediately
Interesting.
touring, immediately putting
Yes.
together the show, immediately going into
Mhm.
rehearsals. And then we always feel that we need a pretty big break, or at least a significant gap of time where we get to rest afterward. And I guess I learned that when we're on the road, it's not just that we're sweating and we're meeting a million people, and we have all this back and forth of just energy of meeting this person, getting us trying to get a surprise guest to surprise the crowd, and
Yeah.
and all this stuff that happens on tour. It's also the creation of the show itself that is taking up a lot of
Wow.
your brain space. So without
Mhm.
that, this just happened naturally on its own.
Is there a dysfunction?
It's so incredible what she's saying there. And I'm such a sports guy myself. There was a lot of things that stopped during this time. One thing that didn't stop was WWE. And
Mhm.
why I'm bringing that up is the best story that has ever came out of WWE came in that era, the Bloodline story. Even you
Yeah.
watched WrestleMania from it. And the reason why is because Roman Reigns figured out you can't shock people now. No one's in the crowd. So you need to
Right.
become a storyteller. And then Roman Reigns, who was like killing it during that time, he was the one who looked in the camera. He spoke so loud that you even could hear what he is saying, where most wrestlers
Yeah.
were never doing that. So everyone at screen were so hooked on this guy because he was just the tribal chief that made everyone acknowledge him. And he had it
Yeah.
going. So the reason why I just find that amazing is some of the best storytelling came out of this time when you weren't relying on the spectacle. You weren't even
relying
thinking
on the
about
shock
how am I
value.
bringing this on stage live. Oh,
Mhm.
if maybe if in this lyric, if we do this, it will actually help on stage. You can't even think like that now.
No.
It's strictly down to making it the way that she is really at her best, just on a guitar. This is going back to her old self, right? So like
Yep.
these are all of her foundations coming out through folklore and evermore. And I just
Absolutely.
find that amazing because it was difficult to be creative during this time, but if you stuck to storytelling, then that's what everyone loves still.
And what was so interesting about COVID for me is, so it was different for you because you were a mandatory worker. I can't remember what the word was.
Essential worker.
Essential worker.
Yeah.
Uh,
Truck driver for
a
bread,
mandatory worker is what I
which
called it.
became mandatory.
It was mandatory, your job.
Yeah.
So like you're an essential worker, so you worked the whole time. I was put on what we called was furlough, so I got laid off from my job during that time.
Yeah.
It became the most creative year of my life
There you go.
because I had to, with that bandwidth that I would normally be putting into retail and customer service, I was now able to put into creativity.
And you're being more creative now that you're not
And
at
now
work
that
even
I'm not
too.
working as well and being more creative, I've just been making cobblers and bread and like cooking more and like doing more artistic stuff with like on the computer with my writing and different things like that.
Yep.
So it's I love what Taylor is saying here, how because she didn't have the shows, it gave her more space. So it's not like I said earlier, it's like she finishing the draft like on draft 4. No, she completed something but then still had more to give.
Oh
And I
yeah.
think that's more what it is.
Yes.
She
I agree.
completed it, was like, this is amazing, but I still have more to give because I don't have my shows to give. So how else am I
I
going
have
to
this
give
extra
back?
stuff I can still
There's
put
all
out.
this stuff that I still need
Yeah,
to give
for
back
sure.
with. And so that's where Evermore came from,
Mhm.
because she evermore wants to give back.
Pretty amazing, eh?
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
This just happened naturally on its own.
Is there a dysfunction to that? Do you think, looking back on it now, is there a correlation between some of the kind of more hard to manage parts of your life and the pace at which things go, and how careers become these kind of entities unto themselves?
Yes and no. I think that looking back on my career, there have been so many different musical phases and, different things I wanted to wear at different times, and they fit my life at the time. Um, and so I think that you've got to allow yourself that grace to put on a certain lifestyle or a certain outfit or a certain creative uh, mantra, and then discard it when you outgrow it.
Yeah.
This was weird though, because this Evermore was the first time I didn't discard everything after I made something new,
Mhm.
It
It's
was
true.
weird. I actually had to kind of fight off
Like you just said.
anxiety that I had in my head, like fear that was like, you need to change. like the demons are here, like, you need to change. You can't stay in the forest. I was like, I want to stay in the forest.
But the forest is such a weird
I
place
love it.
because when you're a kid, and I think aesthetically that's a big part, a significant part of what's made this so immersive, this experience, is that idea of stepping into the unknown. And when you're a kid, like, this idea of wide open water is really scary, not knowing what's underneath. Being out in a forest and looking directly into trees that could go on forever, is kind of an intimidating type of image. And yet you made it feel like something that was intimate, like you wanted to go into that. How did that kind of relate to the music? Because it's such an essential part of these two albums, the way that it looks and feels.
I think that working
Great
with Aaron,
questions.
the music that we were making, he was writing instrumentals and I was writing the melodies and the lyrics. And what ended up happening was, I think we just gravitated towards what both of us simultaneously felt made us feel cozy, which was nature. So many people during the pandemic just were going on hikes and trying to get outside because nature symbolized this strange comfort all of a sudden,
Freedom.
where everything was completely off kilter and nobody could really
You
figure
weren't
out how to
as
get their
busy,
bearings.
so
And
you
so
could
we
go
all went
outside
outside,
too.
or we
Yeah.
all tried to go camping, or tried to
Mhm.
go hiking, or go on drives. And it just, I think that Aaron's music and my music both reflected sort of
Anything to get out of the
that
house.
feel, with Aaron's such an amazing instrumentalist, and his instrumentals that he was writing were all very kind of dreamscapes.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
so
Yeah.
it's not that this album is all about like the forest and the woods and stuff. It's got hints of that, and there's a lot of kind of the lyric. One thing I wanted to do with folklore is I wanted it to represent spring and summer.
Okay. Cool.
And when I made Evermore, I knew that I wanted to fill in the rest of the seasons of the year and have it reflect fall and winter. So
Amazing.
that's another
That's
element that
cool.
nature came into it.
I
But
sh-
also, it
we
was
should
the
have
easiest
known
way that
that
we could do a photo
completely.
shoot. You know, you can't
So true.
have, I haven't had
What's
a haircut.
so funny is I was even talking about like seasons and stuff like that, because this album gives a feeling of
It
seasons.
sure does. Yeah.
Right?
You
And
said
we
that
were
many
even,
times.
and
I
I've
think.
said that many times throughout this. So like I don't know why I didn't like pick up more
Even thinking in the lyrics
in the
now,
lyrics
and like the lyric
now.
videos, even too, with Evermore, like ends in the winter and all that too. And
Yeah.
just thinking about that, that's brilliant, right? Good
It's
for her.
brilliant, but like it was subtle.
Yeah, it was. So that's just showing how much she's actually thinking in extra ways that she won't even allude to here.
I
So
love it.
please let us know those extra nuggets in the comments below.
Her subtle ways have been inspiring me.
Yeah, I feel like even your writing's getting better because of her.
It is. So I actually, something, I'm just going to share this because the Swifties who have made it this far will actually really appreciate it.
Oh yeah.
So like I have used the word quickly quite a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I use it
Quickly.
quite often. Quickly. So I went through my book and I changed a bunch of them to swiftly, because why not?
Because why not? Because y'all are here and we'll support
Y'all
her,
are
like
here.
you said.
And I figure it was a fun little Easter egg. There were a couple times it didn't work, so I didn't do it every single time.
Right.
Right? And there's
Or
a couple
quickly
times,
really worked for it.
right? You can't use swiftly instead of suddenly, you know, it doesn't work as well. But
True.
it's, you know, they're in the same family. Don't ask me if it's a verb or an adverb. I actually have no idea. So,
On that
but
note.
like, she has inspired me to like make changes, which have actually made my writing better and things like that as well. So it's been fun.
By anyone except for myself since lockdown started. And that's kind of how it's been, you know, like how can I make art and make visuals that go with this art where I can't ask my hair and makeup people and my stylist to quarantine for 2 weeks away from their families. I'm not going to ask them to do that, like, and ask them to fly and expose themselves to the virus. So how can I possibly make a cover on my own? Could I just sort of DIY this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So I asked, you know, I
Yeah,
asked my
do it.
friends if I could use their field and their woods, and I used a photographer who works alone. She doesn't have assistants. She shoots on film. So we were carrying bags of film out into fields, and I'd be like, you know, touching up my
Nice.
my lipstick, and then I'd run out into a field and she'd take pictures. It was really fun.
Nice.
I was
Honestly.
going to say, you know, it must have been really amazing as a songwriter too. I was thinking about these two
It's
albums in
cool.
relation to your career and how, in a weird way, and I don't mean this in any relation to in any negative reaction to your previous albums, because you know how I feel, but the process itself of writing songs from a very pure place with no plans. Because you
Yes.
make your debut album with nothing but ambition. That's
Yes.
a plan. That's a big plan.
Yes, it is.
And then from
Yeah.
there, the plans start to increase and get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And to your
That's true.
point, you're looking for the next plan. I just
Yeah.
don't feel like there were any plans here. Did it feel like
I
you
get
could
what
get
he's
to a
saying.
pure place
Yeah.
this year without all those plans?
Yes, it did. Pure is a really, really
Yeah.
perfect word for that.
Mhm.
Because what happens to you as your career builds and builds and builds and builds is that if you've accomplished
Yeah.
a thing in the past, all of a sudden you're expected to accomplish that thing
You got
plus
that
another
right.
new thing plus this other thing
Oh,
over
it's
here.
so hard.
It becomes sort of like I had felt at times when I felt a lot of pressure. I had felt like I was doing some sort of like obstacle course. And that's not how you should feel when you're creating. You know, you
Relatable.
shouldn't feel like I need to make a track list where this one's for the stadium show, this one's for radio, this one's for
Check.
people who want to get in their
Check.
feelings, check. And you can
Yeah.
end up doing
Yes.
that.
There
And
becomes a
it's good to
blueprint.
have friends who are artists
Happens
who
a
have
lot in the
similar
writing
pressures,
community.
like Ed Sheeran and I talk about this a great deal.
Ooh,
This was a
that's
time
good.
when we both stepped back, and I would say to him, this is the first time I felt like I threw the checklist away. Like
Wow.
I threw it away, and
Mhm.
I definitely could have gone into the pandemic thinking I've got to wait for everything to open up so I can do things exactly the way that I'm used to doing them. But then about 3 days in, I thought, wait, this could be an opportunity for me to do things in a way I haven't ever done them before. What would my work sound like if I took away all of my fear-based checklisting that I have inflicted on myself?
Mhm.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
I
That's
guess we know
huge.
the answer now. Yeah.
That's
To
massive.
me, there's an interesting correlation here between these two albums and this idea of getting into a pure space, the freedom and the space being another key word to this, and the idea of going back and re-recording your music.
Mhm.
Do you see a correlation between reflecting the person you've been and becoming the person you want that you are and are going to be?
Jeez.
Wow, there's a lot to unpack there.
There is, yeah.
But it does resonate with me a lot
I bet.
because I was allowed to start re-recording my music in November. By then, we had a great deal of Evermore done.
Oh, wow, just in
I had
November.
shot a music video for Willow, but I was still
Wow.
writing and I was still recording. So there would be days where I'd be recording You Belong With Me. And then I'd be recording a song like Happiness, which is on Evermore. And
Wow.
it made me feel really
Yeah.
proud of sort of the scope of things. And looking back when I was a teenager and I would write about, my troubles in high school and the drama and the pining away and all that stuff, that was all so valid to me at that time in my life.
Mhm.
Just as much as Evermore is so valid to my happiness at this time in my life. So it's been I've really felt very grateful lately for people giving me the ability to grow up creatively. And I know there have been snags and there have been times where people have been like, I don't like her, several times. But for the most part, I feel a great amount of gratitude that I was able to
That was
make music from the
iconically
time I was a teenager to the
accurate.
time
I
I'm
don't like her.
31.
And normally, you put those songs out and then you have to let them go. And even when you perform them in front of people, I often feel like they belong more to the fans and to the audience sometimes than they even do to the artists, And getting a chance to re-record them for whatever reason, whatever prompted this thing, the fact that you get to go and listen to these and re-record them, I wonder if it brings you closer to them and changes your
Yeah.
feelings towards songs that often people just record and move on from. Don't even listen to again as artists unless they're playing them.
Yes,
Right.
it does. It makes me feel really close to those songs again. And it also reminds me that obviously I want to keep a lot of cool surprises for the fans until I'm ready to show them fully to everyone. But
Yeah.
the reason that I feel so passionately that artists should own their catalogs is because
I
if
believe
you are
that
the
too.
creator of all of this music, you're the only one who actually knows the ins and the outs of it. You're the only one who knows what almost was written. You're the only one who knows the kind of secrets of the journey of making this music. So you're actually the only one who has the ability to share it with the fans in the way that can make everyone the happiest and the most excited. So it's been really fulfilling in a way that I had no idea what to expect. You don't
Mhm.
want to feel like it's like, your homework got destroyed and so now you have to redo your homework. It's not like
Yes.
that at all.
Yeah.
It's it's not like
You've
that
got
at
to
all.
go
It's
into it like
extremely
this is an
fulfilling.
opportunity.
Mhm.
And also, you
Yeah.
talked about
Oh my God. So yeah, and I'm gonna say something on this, and I'm gonna leave it actually open just so you guys don't even know it's what I'm referring to. But recently, I had reacted to something that unfortunately I screwed up, and I got rid of like half of it.
Mm.
And so then for me, it was like, is this gonna be homework like that I just screwed up and I have to do again, or is this something I could take advantage of
Yeah.
and start to know it better and learn it better and understand it better?
Yeah.
And where I was actually regretting that time, I thoroughly loved it. I
Yeah.
thoroughly had a great time, and I even felt good after it. Where before it
Good.
felt like such a hurdle. So like when you can go back to do something, to fix it, but just to also know it better and change your perspective, that's what can happen from it. So I think anytime y'all that you get a stumble, whether because like he's saying the reason why you got here to re-record, he's not even trying to go down that rabbit hole. He was just talking about the process of re-recording. So I also love how Zane knows how to jump between the personal while making it personal too.
Absolutely. And like with his question he was saying, does it bring you closer to this music that you would normally just have to let go of? And there was a moment when the camera had snapped back to Taylor when he said music you would have to let go of, and she looked uncomfortable, like, I don't want to let go of my music. And we know Taylor is a very strong advocate of, she even mentioned it there, artists owning their music.
Of course, yeah.
Right? And not having someone else own it. So you don't have to create something and let it go and have it be under the hands of someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So she's like, so then he asked her, does re-recording it bring it closer to you again? And she's like, absolutely. And you could see just how close she truly feels to her music. Like her music is her baby's.
Yes.
Right? And so like, it's really cool just to see how like prominent her love for that ownership of her music truly is, and for everyone to have that ownership of their music, because like I believe that if you're an artist and you create something, that's yours.
Yeah, I just thought that was a given at first.
Right? I always thought it was a given. Growing up, I didn't realize that they
shows
don't
the naivety,
the naivete of it. Exactly. I didn't know that artists don't own their music. Photographers don't own their photos. Like a lot of like actors don't own their movies, etc. so forth. I didn't really know that growing up. I thought they were all like a part of it.
Yeah.
Right? So like that's been something that I just have become more aware of as an adult, and it's actually Taylor who brought that to my attention, that she's done for so many people, and I think that's why she's such a strong advocate as well.
Always advocate for what you believe in, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like
You've
that.
got to go
It's
into it like this is an
fulfilling.
opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And also, you talked about artists owning their catalog, and I've been talking to artists for most of my life. And there's one thing that continues to crop up, and I think that, your perspective would be really, really interesting here, which is, why do you think that as artists we put security and stability before artistic control and freedom as young artists?
We don't make that conscious decision. We aren't given the information oftentimes, and that's why I'm having lots of conversations behind the scenes with record labels and trying to help them understand this from a psychological perspective, what you do to an artist when you separate them from their work.
No kidding.
You break something, and I'm trying to figure out how to put that thing back together in a way that heals what was broken by a system that is not designed for artists to have a chance at, that's an artist's pension plan. That's their retirement. That's their legacy.
Yeah.
That's what they want to leave to their children.
And how could you ever know? How could you ever know the life you're going to live? How could you ever know what's going to happen, right? A coming of age has come and gone, right? How could you ever know that?
Yeah, good quote. But yeah, I was 15, 14 when I was in record deal negotiations. So you can't really go back and say, wow, what a conscious choice that was made. You don't know the music industry until you know it. And because I have learned what I've learned, I really just want to make things better for other people. And I want that to start at the record deal.
Yes.
In the contract.
The beginning.
Artists should never have to part with their work. They should own it from day one, but they should license it back to the label so that the label can make back their money over a certain amount of time. And that amount of time should be what's negotiated upon. It should not be a question moving forward. And if I can do anything to change that for a young artist in the future, or many, or all of them, then that's,
I love how open she is about talking about it.
It's an incredible observation. It's a brilliant age to come
great
to
observation.
And at the time of recording, your birthday's in a couple of days. By the time this is seen, it's probably about 24 hours ago. To protect myself from the Swifties, I got to say happy birthday, even though you haven't had your birthday. It's all very DeLorean.
Protect yourself from the Swifties. We understand. we have been in some dire moments that you guys could this play.
Kind of nightmare for me right now. I'm in some Back to the Future vortex. But anyway, happy birthday.
Thank you.
I wanted to talk about
Amen.
this album and the word I mentioned at the beginning, closure, is something that keeps coming up on Evermore for me.
Closure,
As a listener and a
pure
fan of
space.
your music. But it's got to start somewhere. The album and the journey has to start somewhere. And it starts with Willow. And it's I don't often ask this question. I wish I did. Why is that the first song on the album? And you're the artist to ask it to, Taylor.
Oh,
Because
it's
it's
such a good
definitely a
question.
reason.
I liked opening the album with that because I loved the feeling that I got immediately upon hearing the instrumental that Aaron created for it. It felt strangely, I say witchy, and I
Yeah.
stand by that. It felt
Yeah.
like somebody standing over a potion, making a love potion, dreaming up the person that they want and the person they desire, and trying to figure out how to get that person in their life. And all the
Yeah.
kind of misdirection and bait and switch and complexity that goes into seeing someone, feeling a connection, wanting them, and trying to make them a part of your life.
Yep.
It's tactical at times. It's confusing at times.
Totally.
It's up to fate. It's magical.
It's called
weird.
manifestation. That's how human beings actually make sense of
Yes.
it. It's we're manifesting, but it's something else. It's something else.
Yeah.
It's a whole combination of all of it.
Yeah,
Yes.
it felt a bit magical and mysterious, which is what
Yeah.
I wanted people to feel going into an album that was a collection of these stories that were going to take them in all kinds of directions. So I wanted to start them with sort of a setting of the vibe. But what you say about closure is really, really profound, because with folklore, one of the main themes throughout that was conflict resolution. Right? Like trying to figure out how to get through something with someone, or making confessions, or trying to tell them something, trying to communicate with them. Evermore deals a
That's
lot in endings
incredible.
of all sorts, shapes and sizes, all the kinds of ways we can end a relationship, a friendship, something toxic, and the pain that goes along with that, the phases of it. So it's cool that you noticed that.
Yeah.
I mean, it opens up so many possibilities for you as a
Pebby just wants in, y'all. So we don't need to have Pebby have the scratchies the whole time. You guys always respect that. Well, you probably can't see him because of that square blockage, but
There's a Pebby right here.
You'll probably see him down there. All right.
Of it. So it's and the pain that goes along with that, the phases of it. So it's cool that you noticed that.
I mean, it opens up so many possibilities for you as a writer once, you get to a point where you feel you don't have to stick to that linear narrative. And it's a very brilliant narrative, but the idea of like, I love you, we fell out, we broke up, there's pain, there's joy. When you start to look at all the other open endings and you go deeper, and it requires some real character analysis and development in order to do that successfully, because you can't have lived all those lives, but you might have learned a thing or two about your own by doing so. Have there been moments during writing of these albums where you've learned things about yourself that you would never have learned if you'd been focused on that specific emotional feeling?
Absolutely, because
Nice.
when you watch a film or you read a book and there's a character that you identify with, you most of the time identify with them because they're targeting something in you that feels that you've been there. That's why we relate to characters. And so when I was reading, Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier, and I was thinking, wow, her husband just tolerates her. She's doing all these things and she's trying so hard and she's trying to impress him, and he's just tolerating her the whole time. There was a part of me that was, relating to that, because at some point in my life I felt that way. And so I ended up writing this song, Tolerate It, that's all about sort of trying to love someone who's
unreal.
ambivalent.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's unreal.
Thank you so much.
So something that you guys probably won't see, but we'll just be open. We ran out of space on the recording, so it's actually a good thing because we had a little hiccup with the mic where we had to go and check out the thing, and luckily we were able to notice there. So that's also probably why like Pebby is come and gone without like knowing as well in the film and all that too. So that's just to also just be real with you and just how much joy she has talking about this. While there's a lot of painful songs about to be talked about and all that, right?
Sad songs.
Yeah.
And I mean, even a song like Champagne Problems, all right, let's talk about that. There's
Snicker.
unrequited love.
Okay,
That's
word.
a well-written topic in the arts. But then there's that
Yes.
song. That song, that is one of the most heartbreaking tales of unrequited love I've ever heard in my entire life. And it shouldn't be
Yes.
written by somebody who is honestly and obviously very much in love. So I don't know how you got there.
Well, Joe and I really love sad songs. We've always bonded over music,
Tough,
so it
eh?
was.
Clearly, you've written some of the saddest songs of your career
We write
together.
the
What's
sad.
going
What's crazy is they write the saddest songs of their career together, and then knowing how that
Where it ends up.
where it ends is so sad.
So long, London, right?
So long, London.
Yeah, I mean, what's happening on the outside is not always what's happening in the inside, y'all. And relationships are difficult. So, like even
Yeah.
he's saying, but that's also when you can love very well. That also means you can embody pain so well because you know
Yeah.
how to make sure you don't get to the pain is also through loving, right?
Absolutely.
So like,
And when you can love hard, you can feel pain hard as well.
yeah,
And it's like, and that's what Taylor does so well. That's why she's so good at a juxtaposition.
yeah, you're
Because,
right.
like he's saying, someone so in love shouldn't be able to write a song so painful. And it's like, well, I'm so in love because I know such pain.
Yeah, and just things that maybe are missing in the love that you can't even really
Yeah.
announce yet.
Well, like, and there's so many times where we see, like, what, like, the Instagram post versus real life.
Of course.
Right? And that's kind of even the outside versus the inside of relationships. Like, you see the Instagram post, but do you see, like, what's going on behind the scenes? And that's sometimes where that pain can come from.
That's why we try to be as real as we can for y'all because we know there's a currency in being real and vulnerable.
There really is.
And that's what's very highly respected in Taylor and Zane even in this interview right now is how real he's getting down to the core because he even knows these people, right? Like he
Yeah,
talks
he
to producers
does.
all the time.
Absolutely.
Over music, so it was.
Clearly, you've written some of the saddest songs of your career
We
together.
write the
What's going
saddest
on?
songs. We just really love sad songs. What can I say? He
Just
started
really
that
like
one
sad.
and came up with the melodic structure of it. And I say it was a surprise that we started writing together, but in a way it wasn't because we have always bonded over music and had the same musical tastes. And he's always the person who's showing me songs by artists, and I'm then they become my favorite songs or whatever. But
Nice.
yeah, Champagne Problems was one of my favorite bridges to write. I really love a bridge where you tell the full story in the bridge. Like you really you shift gears in that bridge. I'm so excited to one day be in front of a crowd when they all sing "She Would Have Made Such a Lovely Bride. What a shame she's fucked in the head." Like,
Yeah, it's broken.
because I know it's so sad. I know it's so sad, but it's those songs like All Too Well. Performing the song All Too Well is one of the most
Love it.
joyful experiences I ever go through when I perform live. So when there's a song like Champagne Problems where you know it's so sad, you know that, but I love a sad song, you know?
Right?
What's it like when you're walking through the house and you hear the piano being played and music being written, and maybe for the first time ever, it's not you,
Yeah.
it's someone else.
Well, he doesn't think of it that way. You know, he's always just playing instruments, and he doesn't do it in a strategic, I'm writing a song right now thing. He's always done that.
I love the art
But
behind her, by
I
the way.
do. I think
Yeah,
we
me
would have
too.
taken the step of, hey, let's see if there's a song in here. Let's write a song together. If we hadn't been in lockdown, I don't think that would have happened, and I'm so glad that it did.
He's been a part of some of the most sort of powerful moments on these records in terms of songwriting. Like Exile is no joke. Like that song is
Oh.
a serious
Yeah.
moment and another seriously sad song.
It is. It is. We're so proud of that one. Also because I do remember the exact moment that I walked in and he was playing that exact piano part. And all I had to do was follow the piano melody with the verse melody. So, because the vocal melody is exactly the same, pretty much. It's mirrored with the
Yeah,
piano
it is.
It
part that he
is.
wrote. And we did the same thing with Evermore, where I'll just kind of hear what he's doing and it's all there. All I have to do is dream up some lyrics and come up with some gut-wrenching, heart-shattering story to write with him.
So here's the question then. You're Joe and you play music because you love it.
Also to know how something can work means you had to have thought how it couldn't work.
Yeah.
So then that's a story and a fantasy itself. Like I'm even doing
Absolutely.
one-on-one coaching right now, and that's the thing they do. So it's like, so if you keep up these patterns, how's it gonna work out? And then it's like, oh no, I don't want that to happen, right? And
Yeah.
then you could make something out of that. So that's also what's really good for Taylor too, because she doesn't even have kids yet. Imagine what type of
Mhm.
music and alternate type of viewpoint she's going to have, even though obviously you can embody what it's like to be a parent, but you really don't know until you have it, you know? So like,
Yeah.
but she still has, I'm sure, embodied it many times too. A song doesn't come to my mind, but yeah, it's just like what they're going on here is true therapy even.
It really is. And like there's something unique about like when you there's something very out of body when you become a parent.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
you can get some very unique when you're creative, the unique perspectives that can come from that out of body, it allows you to put yourself in other people's shoes in a new way.
You become third person
You
opposed to
become
first.
third
Just try
person.
to have your kid
There's
point
a
of view.
lot of memories that I have where my memory is in third person
Right.
because of how out of body I was at that time,
Mhm.
because you're literally working off autopilot. There are so many times getting up in the middle of the night to like
Do something for the
breastfeed
kid, yeah.
it's like it's a third person memory
Mhm.
because it goes in and out of third person to first person, like as you're going in and out of consciousness and sleep, to get the job done. And when you're in that type of a state, it's very lucid. And that lucid state allows for a lot of creativity to happen and to grow. And I think that like when she just has so many more levels of herself that she's going to go through.
I agree. Yeah.
Right? What
Much
like
more eras.
much more eras
Yeah.
for Taylor. And like you even see it even coming from Evermore. She's unlocked a new Pandora's box for herself, and she's done
Torture
that
Poets Department, then to
torture
Life of Showgirl.
to Life of a Showgirl, like another box and another box
Yeah.
and another box, right? So like it's just so cool to see, and like these questions that Zaner is asking are fantastic.
One of the best interviews, honestly, and we need to
Mhm.
make music together.
We do.
It'd be so fun.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
I'd love that. I'll come up with the lyrics. You come
Yeah.
up with the music. Perfect.
And you have passions in the arts in all kinds of places. And I would ask him this if I saw him, but I can't. So I'll ask you. Then you come up with a song like Exile, and Justin Vernon is singing it with you.
Oh.
Has he expressed to you how that feels for him to just be expressing himself, and the next thing you know, Bon Iver and yourself are bringing this song to life because you always wanted that in your life. But for him, it's just been this organic thing.
Folklore and Evermore include our favorite artists. So it's, we've always listened to Bon Iver, The National.
So it's a big deal for you.
It's a huge deal.
Which is
And
Aaron's
you've probably
band.
been trying to pluck up
Yeah.
the courage to get into the studio with Justin Vernon subconsciously or consciously for a long time. But for him, it's like, how does this happen?
I never would have imagined that Justin would dive into this project or any project with me like this, because Justin has his own musical world and his own sort of, in my mind, it was this impenetrable force field of brilliance that he cultivates talent from everywhere. He operates out of Eau Claire. I never knew how I would ever get in contact with Justin Vernon. My in was that Aaron Dessner, who produced these albums and wrote with me, is his best friend. I mean, they are
Sure helps.
They are like, they have a connection. They would do anything for each other. Like they would do anything to support each other's projects. It's really, really sweet and
Amazing.
pure and lovely.
That's so
their
cool to
love
know.
and respect for each other. So he said to me when I sent him Exile, he said to me, I think Justin would be into this. I think he would be into this. And I said, this will break my heart if he doesn't want to, because My biggest anxieties say to me, the artist that you love will never
Yes.
love you too.
Oh.
So it was just a really huge moment, just all around really good moment when he wanted to be a part of it. And then when we went in to make Evermore, what shocked me too was that Justin leaned in. He's playing the lead guitar solo on Cowboy Like Me. He's playing the drums on that song. He's playing drums on Closure. He's singing background vocals on
Wow.
Ivy and Marjorie. Sorry, I didn't know I had a home phone, but apparently I
Until
do.
somebody called it. You probably don't even know your number.
It's actually really good to learn that today.
I love what he just said there. I just love what he said there. There's probably no one who even knows you.
I'm sorry. I didn't even know I had a home
I just
phone.
picture her like picking it up and like after calling someone and like it's one of those phones.
Oh my god, how many Swifties went and got a home phone after this interview? Taylor has one. I need one too. Because I instantly thought of that.
Oh my gosh, she's that girl next door that's right,
Yeah.
Like everything you want in someone, she embodies so well because like everything you love about the past, she does.
Yeah.
Like she is the thing that brings the 90s trend back.
She is. Oh my god.
Yeah, just look at
I got bangs.
You sure did. It's great.
They're pinned up right now. They look like not good if they're down. But like, I got bangs.
Here we go.
You probably don't even know your number.
It's actually really good to learn that today. But Justin Vernon working so just so naturally and so enthusiastically on Evermore was a really cool turn of events because I feel truly honored. And I can't wait to meet him.
No,
It's so weird. I know it's so weird, but it's, perfectly in keeping with this year. Okay.
Yeah.
So here's a question. Up until this year, even through your collaborative stages, and you've been working with Jack now for a while, and you have a really strong group of artists and friends around you all the time, but there's always this sense that it's Taylor's vision. Taylor's on track. You're in control. You got this. This idea of you having to kind of forge ahead on your own terms. And here you are on a song like Exile with your significant other involved in the creative process and your hero involved in the creative process. I was listening to that song and I thought, wow, you must have felt protected. You must have actually felt really wrapped up in that moment. And was it emotional? And did that resonate with you that like, wow, like I'm good?
I actually don't think that I believed that this song would exist in the world because in my head, that wasn't going to happen. I never wanted to get too invested in it because I always wanted Justin to be able to say at the last minute, hey, I don't want to be on the record, and I wanted that to be okay with me, So I actually did not assign too much. I didn't fuse myself to the idea that this was real until the album was actually out. And I remember just like going on drives and listening to Exile thinking, oh, it happened.
Look how scared she is even now.
This song got made, it got finished, it got put out into the world, and we're all happy about it, and people are listening to it. Like it was sort of
album of the year.
I don't mean to seem so like aw shucks about it, but it really, I didn't want to get my heart broken. People can change their minds about things.
I get it, but then when he goes, so step right out, and he does that Justin Vernon thing.
That was the moment because when he added that part, that was the moment that sent me into the universe without any chance of returning. Because we had written up to that point and he added that. And so when we got the recording back, we had no idea what he was going to do. And when we heard that part, it was just like hands on face is melting. Everything is made out of confetti.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
Everything's made out of confetti.
One story that really stood out when we were watching the Long Pond sessions was the one about August and the idea of that song coming from that line, Meet Me Behind the Mall, and that you'd had that line for a long time. How long had you had that line for?
It was about 6 months old, probably.
You're collecting ideas and things all the time, right? I mean, you've got to be just absorbing and drawing inspiration and writing, jotting and ideating. How do you sort of catalog and how do you make sense of that? And do you draw upon those things often? Do you reflect into your own space to create something new?
Yes, because I really love a turn of a phrase or play on words or common phrases and you twist something. Another one that I had had for a very long time, I think I'd had this one for a couple of years, was the knife cuts both ways. If the shoe fits, walk in it till your high heels break. Those are my favorite kind of things to do. So if I think of one, but I don't have a song at the moment, I
Yeah,
write it down.
you can't lose
and I keep a
that.
file
No.
of. I also have a folder of favorite words. So I have
Great.
favorite phrases, favorite words, favorite
Mhm.
lines that I think could just fit somewhere.
What are some of your favorite words, top of your head?
Oh,
Ooh.
top of my head. Well, epiphany on folklore
Yeah.
was one of my favorite words.
Epiphany's a good
Um,
word.
Would love that.
Incandescent, which is on
Ooh.
the song
Another good word.
Ivy. That's one that I really like. Just sort of
Those two are
ones that sound
great.
pretty when you say them, and they also mean something that's interesting. The fans have a really amazing inside joke where they're like, what, like the starter kit for listening to folklore Evermore, and it's just a picture of a dictionary.
Nice.
Like they're like Taylor, we needed to look up 300 different words.
It is like Taylor Swift bingo. It's like bingo, we got that one in there. That's
I'm
great.
sorry.
But no, it all adds up to, as I said at the beginning of our
What did you want to say?
So I looked at you and I smiled because I just thought my favorite word that I think is really pretty but has like a horrendous meaning, felony.
Felony. Oh yeah, no, that is a great word.
It's a great word.
It is.
And it sounds really pretty. And it would make a really pretty name
If it didn't have
if
the
it
bad
didn't
connotation.
have the bad connotation behind it.
Felony. Oh, I can even
Right?
picture
You
petting
know?
a dog or something. Even. Really?
And it's so funny because I saw a video and it was like kids' names, but like wrong, right?
Good
And
name,
it
right?
was like one of those was felony, and I was like, that is actually a really pretty name if you think about it. And that's the first thing I thought of. She's like, Epiphany. I'm like, yeah, that's a really pretty name. I'm over here.
Incandescent?
Incandescent.
And what does that mean?
Incandescent is like you know when a car changes colors as it drives past?
Yeah.
That's incandescent.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah. Understand
Yeah.
that. We got some posters that are incandescent and holographic
Those ones are, yeah.
because they change color when you look at different ways.
They change color when they look different ways.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm
though?
pretty sure. I'm like, does it though? No, I'm pretty
If
pretty
it did,
sure.
that would have been it, right?
Yeah. Incandescent is like,
I gotcha.
yeah, and I'm pretty sure I'm like 99% sure that's the meaning behind it, like where it like shifts.
Hence why you need a dictionary. Y'all
Hence
have
why
always
you
told
need
us
a
that.
dictionary.
And that's why we have a phone right beside us.
Well, we got that one in there.
Everyone,
That's
I'm
great.
sorry.
No, it all adds up to, as I said at the beginning of our conversation, this kind of really immersive world. And you use geography a lot on these two albums too. You know, Coney Island being a very, very visceral image. I've been there. I know what you're referring to when you go there. The idea of that very foggy, lonely, the fairground ride is shut down. The whole thing feels like the end of a golden
When
era.
we went to
And Matt Berninger's
when we went to the Whiff and Spit and it was super foggy that one day.
Yeah.
That's like the Coney Island fog.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I
sure.
think of.
and the whole thing feels like the end of a golden era. And Matt Berninger's verse on that is just unbelievable, but he didn't write it, right?
Yeah. I was writing it as if I were Matt. So
Wow, you did a
so I'm
great
glad
job.
that
What's the
that it
line in
tracked.
there? What's the line in
Thank
there?
you.
Do you miss the rogue who coaxed you into paradise and left you there? Will you forgive my soul when you're too wise to trust and too old to care? Okay. So what's it like when you're
I'm so
writing?
glad you like that one. That one was, I'm a huge fan of The National. I love the way they
What a
do that
songwriter,
sort
eh?
of downbeat, sometimes self-loathing, reflective, just cut right to the heart of the matter. That lyricism, it's why I'm such a fan of the band. And when we had an idea that Matt could sound really amazing on this, that was kind of the perspective I was coming from, was like a male perspective of regret or guilt after a lifetime of a pattern of behavior. And I'd been kind of touching on sort of things like that on the song Tolerate It, where there's this, you know, person who's on one side of the relationship who's felt like their partner's been there, but they haven't been there. They've been there, but they're just sitting next to each other eating breakfast. They haven't been there.
Two different
So
things, right?
writing Matt's part was really fun. I really loved writing. We were like the mall before the internet. It was the one place to be. Like it was.
One
It
of
was the
the
place to be.
best
And I was
lines.
trying
Yeah.
to reflect on the Coney Island visual of a place where thrills were once sought, you know, a place where once it was all electricity and magic, and now the lights are out and you're looking at it thinking, what did I do? I also really liked having him say happy birthday in the song, where he's standing in the hallway with a big cake, happy birthday. And I knew I was going to release it on my birthday week, so
A little personal birthday wish from Matt Berninger for you on your birthday week. No, but it's
I
great.
actually got my favorite lead singer of my favorite band to wish me happy birthday.
That's pretty
so
cool, actually.
Yeah, that is really
That's the
cool.
real
That's
win.
like
You
when,
talk about Tolerate It.
that was like when Paul wished us happy anniversary.
Yeah, absolutely. That was
Yeah,
incredible.
that was incredible.
Yeah, like earth shattering, and even got our whole family to be like, "Is that AI?" Like,
Yeah,
it was that unbelievable
They
for
didn't
people.
believe it. They thought it was
It
like
was so cool.
so cool.
So thank you so much, Swifties. And something that
Yeah.
I have noticed, because I like to try to pay attention to my honeys, is her eyes on the sun, and I think it's piercing in. So I'm just gonna put the blockage.
Oh, there was a shadow, and I thought someone was walking up to our door.
Yeah. So we can make sure the shadows aren't sneaking in now.
Sounds good.
Okay, y'all, we're better. I'm sure the lighting looks better for y'all and for us and for our eyes.
Hmm.
Here we go.
You talk about no body, no crime, loyalty, the idea of being loyal to your own emotions, also loyalty being, I would say, based on what we know about you being it's something that's very important to you. That loyalty is an incredibly important
Mhm.
character trait to you.
probably the most important
Yeah,
character
loyalty.
trait.
Yeah,
Ride
it
or
requires
die,
some
y'all.
tough conversations,
Yeah.
and I think about a song
She's
like
very
Tolerate It, and
loyal,
we've all
so-
seen our
All
friends
in.
go through this, continue to stay in situations where it's not good for their health and they can't see it. Are you the kind of person that's capable to do that out of loyalty, to speak to your friends and say, look, you know, this isn't working for you?
I think that it's probably not my place to say that unless they come to me
Mhm.
and confide in me and say,
Right.
you know, I need to vent, I need to talk. You have to kind of give people the space to learn lessons in their own time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I've learned that, you know,
That's
the
smart.
messenger often gets shot, and if you
Yeah.
talk a bunch of
Always.
about your friend's boyfriend, like they're definitely going to get back together, and then you're the one who they form a united front, and you're the one that's on the outside of it. So I try really hard to just kind
Well
of
said.
be patient and listen
Sounds
to friends, and if they want to talk shit, we talk
personal.
shit. But it's you have to know that people are going to make decisions based on their heart and their feelings, and
Mhm.
and like if that doesn't match up with the way that you see the situation objectively, you've got to take it as a case by case situation and just try to be a good friend,
Yes.
because we're all
Yeah.
human and we're all kind of learning lessons in the weirdest time
Yep.
facing humankind, 2020.
That's a
True,
great
true.
lesson.
Yeah.
The song
Great
Happiness,
lesson.
again, one of the best songs on Evermore, and there's a great line in there where you talk a little bit about not being ready to reinvent yourself yet. You're not there. You haven't identified who you need to become.
Right.
I guess you're just really content in this place. And then I just applied it to the songwriting process and to where you were at your life. You said you woke up feeling like this was coming to an end to some degree this morning. Do you feel like the world is now starting to catch up to you again, and that this wonderful kind of magical moment is going to change shape?
Well,
Ooh.
that's very perceptive of you, because that
Yeah.
that
very
song was the last
perceptive.
song that I wrote on Evermore.
Oh, wow.
So I think that line specifically was I haven't met the new me yet. In the context of the relationship song, I was trying to channel sort of my friends who have gotten out of very, very long, impactful, life-altering relationships, and saying, how do I pack this up? How do I put this in a box and put it in my car and drive away?
Right.
And what did I leave
Yeah.
there? So from that perspective, it goes to, I haven't met the new me yet, you know, the person I'm going to have to become in order to get over this person who's going to have new hobbies and fill their time with new things other than you. In the second verse, it
Mhm.
says, I hope she'll be a beautiful fool who takes my spot next to you. and you haven't met the new me yet, meaning you haven't met the person who's going to replace me yet,
Yes.
but I know you're going to.
Yeah.
So then in the third verse, it goes to, I haven't met the new me yet, but I think she'll give you that, meaning I think she's going to forgive you, and I think she's going to give you that green light to move ahead with your life and to know that I'm okay. But in my there's another meaning to the phrase, which is that I have no idea what comes after this, and I truly have no plan, and I'm okay with that. It does feel like this is it for a bit, but I don't know what that means, and I don't know. It's exactly the phrase is exactly what I mean. I have no idea what happens next.
There's a
Yeah.
couple of songs on this
Yeah.
album
So honest.
that take us into your family history that prove not only to be fantastic stories, but clearly very personal, very emotional, and just beautifully told. And one of those is called Marjorie,
Oh,
which is, you know, for anyone who has lost a member of their family and felt like there was something unresolved in terms of wisdom or experience or time spent, because we take time for granted. We really do.
Yeah,
as
we
people,
do.
until it's too late or we lose it. What was the experience like writing that song?
The experience writing that song was really surreal because, you know, I was kind of a wreck at times writing it. I would sort of break down sometimes. It was really hard to actually even sing it in the vocal booth without sounding like I had sort of a break, because it just was really emotional. I think that one of the hardest forms of regret to sort of work through is the regret of being so young when you lost someone that you didn't have the perspective to learn and appreciate who they were fully.
Yeah.
You know, you didn't have that sort of, you know, I'd open up my grandmother's closet and she had beautiful dresses from the 60s. I wish I'd asked her where she wore every single one of them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
things like that. She was a singer, and my mom will look at me so many times a year and say, God, you're just like her. When I'll, you know, some mannerism that I don't recognize as being anyone other than mine.
And it's really hard, that thing, because parents, they
Oh my God! Anytime we just talk about Marjorie, I'm even thinking about my grandpa right now. For my birthday, he had sent me something, and he miscategorized what his role was in my life again, and it's just so hard to
Yeah.
not want, you got to go see the people while they're there, just knowing mentally what's happening even now too. It's just don't have the regret, because it's so hard to get
Yeah.
over as they're about to talk about that whole thing. And that's why I think Marjorie always hits me so hard, is knowing I could have had more time with these people.
Absolutely.
So I think that's the responsibility with humans, is just making sure to
Make the time.
to grow yourself, to make sure you're not getting
Mhm.
offended by other people's lives,
Mhm.
you know. So just accept whatever is happening, right? So she's tying everything she's trying to explain really well here. So there's definitely lessons I needed to hear.
And say,
Yeah.
God, you're just like her. When I'll, you know, some mannerism that I don't recognize as being anyone other than mine.
And it's really hard, that thing, because parents, they hand that down to you as a gift. That's a very common thing to say about family members. It's ultimately a gift. It's like, you remind me of your grandmother or whatever. But what it does is it continues to pique your interest in why. I can't get an answer why, really, because they're not here for me to
Yeah.
find that out, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, she died when I was 13, and
Wow.
she died almost, I think it was when I was on a trip to Nashville to try and make it, and to try to hand out my demo CD to record labels and things like that. So there were pretty insane coincidences like that. And you know, I've always felt that thing, I've always just sort of felt like she was seeing seeing this, you know,
Wow.
because we have to sort of do that. But one of the things about this song that kind of still rips me apart when I
Keeps the
listen to
hope.
it is that she's singing with me on this song.
How did that happen?
My mom found a bunch of her
Great
old
question.
records, a bunch of old vinyls of her singing opera, and I sent them to Aaron, and he added them to the song. And
Wow.
so it says, you know, if I didn't know better, I think you were singing to me now. And then you hear her,
Then
you
you
hear
hear
Marjorie actually sing,
so
my grandmother.
crazy.
And it just, it's moments like that on the record that just make you feel like your whole heart is in this whole thing that you're doing.
Why they have to
It's
go
all
there?
of you that you put into these things.
Memories are a significant part of this body of work. The idea of memories and what they mean to you, and also, as we said at the beginning, closure to create new ones. You know, and you talked about time and coincidence and things. The biggest misconception about you, and we spoke about this last time we spoke, was that there's this controlling side to you. There's a difference between ambition or wanting to do something right and control. But my point is that you actually, your life is filled with coincidence. It's filled with fate. It's
Yeah.
filled with timing, isn't it?
Yes, and never more so than with the process of these two albums, honestly.
Wow.
This is one of those things where I've kind of had to...
You look fine.
Do I look fine?
And
I cried again.
also, sorry for not doing this earlier.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Everyone's like, give her a Kleenex. We don't even got. I have the flannel things to wipe your tears.
Who needs sleeves when you have,
Yeah.
or who needs Kleenex when you have flannel?
Exactly.
Process of these two albums, honestly. This is one of those things where I've kind of had to just sort of throw out any playbook I had. You know, you just, in times like these when everything is uncertain and everything changes in your world, I guess I just sort of took it as an opportunity to embrace the fact that even if you think you have control in normal times, that's an illusion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you're making stuff, put it out. If people need music and you've made music, put it out. You know, there was a time in the beginning of the process where I was like, I will wait till January when things are looking more normal, then I will put out folklore. And I was like, that's my old brain. That's my old brain thinking that there's any way that I can control this.
Right.
And, you know, humans do need to have some sort of strategy when they go into putting out, you know, music or doing any business whatsoever. But as much as that has an ability to fall by the wayside, it did with this, because there was no way to make it and feel in control. You can't, you've got to just let fate do what it's going to do with something like this. And,
Just drop
and I
it.
do talk to Aaron and Jack about this a lot, because we do feel sort of like this was a whirlwind. We don't understand it. Our logical brains don't comprehend it. And we know it's, you know, you guys make albums. Of course, you put out albums all the time, whatever. But this feels different for us. It does. It feels like something that will affect the rest of our lives, and the way that we make art, and not being too precious. We actually really weren't very precious about this. We weren't too picky or oh, it has to be, everything has to be perfect. It's like, no, nothing's going to be perfect right now.
How
Let's
does it
make
feel?
music that, yeah, how does it feel?
Yeah.
And I'm so happy that people welcomed it into their lives the way that they did.
So if the album has to start
Evermore's
with Willow, it has to end
fantastic.
somewhere. And
I agree, honey.
Like, absolutely fantastic. And I think like what they did by just letting the music go and letting like fate kind of take control and not having to worry about it being perfect and just letting the emotions drive it, and that kind of creative chaos and allowing it to happen, I think they created something beautiful with it.
Yeah, and like, who knows if she'll ever be in that place to make it dual sister albums to like really
Again.
embody that, right? Because we see
Who else has made sister albums? It's such a unique process.
I think that happens, but just like in the space of like the COVID to do that and all that too,
Yeah.
because now we even see she made her albums while on tour. So like
Exactly.
she's able to do it anyway, and that's been honestly phenomenal to see as well.
ends with Evermore, and a
Absolutely.
lot has already been made because your fans, we are so engaged in your writing and the themes and the narrative of that particular song. But you wrote it, and I'd love to know why it ends these, you know, this body of work.
Well, there were there's sort of a double meaning to the months that are mentioned and the feelings that are mentioned. One of the meanings is that I wrote this song and these lyrics when we were coming up to the election, and I didn't know what was going to happen. So I was almost preparing for the worst to happen and trying to see some sort of glimmer at the end of the tunnel, and And the last verse, the song it goes through walking through the forest barefoot in the middle of winter, or standing on a balcony and letting the icy wind just hit you and you're catching your death. And then in the last chorus, the person goes inside and finally is warm and finally is safe. It's about sort of the process of finding hope again. But it also reflected back to an experience that I had that was pretty life altering when I went through like a bunch of bad stuff in 2016, like July, November. All those times were just sort of taking it day by day to get through, trying to find a glimmer of hope, all of that. So I was coming from both of those perspectives, and we wrote it exactly the same way we did Exile, where Joe wrote the piano, I based the vocal melody on the piano, and we sent it to Justin, who then added that bridge. And Joe had written the piano part so that the tempo speeds up and it changes. The music completely changes to a different tempo in the bridge.
Yeah.
And Justin really latched onto that and just 100% embraced it and wrote this beautiful sort of the clutter of all your anxieties in your head, and they're all speaking at once. And we got the bridge back, and then I wrote this narrative of when I was shipwrecked, I thought of you, that sort of thing, where there was this beacon of hope, and then in the end, you realize the pain wouldn't be forever, that it could get better.
Subside.
So that was why I wanted to end it there. But we also have 2 bonus tracks that are coming out that are a second ending, which I'm excited about.
Oh,
I know you love a second ending, Taylor, which we all do as well. I love that.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I gotta ask this question, because at some point the hope is that the doors open up again and we get to experience this as a community, and we get to see you perform and put on these amazing shows. And there's something really beautiful about these 2 albums existing in their own
I guess
skin.
that's when
and
you
not
get to
having
see it
put
in
on
the
costumes every
Eras
night.
tour, right?
But there's obviously going to be a desire, I'm sure, to play them, and there definitely is for us to hear them. You've got this amazing team around you, these players, these collaborators. Can you see a time when you could pull this family together and go and play some shows, even just a select group of shows?
Wow. That is one of our daydreams that we talk about often, but it's not a plan. The conversations happen between me, Aaron, and Jack. And doing the Long Pond studio sessions, it just made us want to play music like that more. It just made us want to, start a band together. And Justin, I know, talks to Aaron about it a lot too, about just like, we've got to play together. We've got to play this music together because we've loved singing it. I was actually talking to Marcus Mumford about it too, because he sang backup vocals on Cowboy Like Me, and he was like, we gotta have a band. We've got to do this. So I think everybody who's involved, the Haim girls are my best friends, and it's weird. We always end up at parties where there's a stage and people are like, go play something. And so we've played live together so many times. We've been on tour together, but this is actually the first album where Esty, Alanna, Danielle, and I have actually collaborated on a song. And so, these are all people I love. That's the reason why the daydream feels very feasible, because I would play with these people forever.
What do you play with Haim at parties? I gotta ask, because I'm friends with them as well. What do you play with Haim at parties? What do you play? Do you play covers? What do you play?
Well, when we were at the SNL 40th anniversary party, they had a band up there on stage, and Jimmy Fallon had the mic, and he was like, somebody's got to get up and play. And so
of course, it's Jimmy
he saw us in
Fallon.
the crowd,
Of course,
pointed
Jimmy
at us, and I was
Fallon.
like, I think it was established that Shake It Off is 3 chords over and over and over again. So I was just like, A minor, C, G. And so, we played then. We've also done, we had a party once where we would, where we were the house band, and we would just if somebody wanted to sing karaoke, we would just really quick chart out the song and play whatever song they wanted to, and it was like a karaoke machine.
Oh, cool.
So we've had a lot of fun.
What was the worst cover that you did that night when you guys couldn't chart it out and it just fell apart at the seams?
It wasn't bad in the sense that we didn't know the song, but we did do sort of a disco version of Under the Sea from The Little Mermaid. That I think would be filed as one of the least expected ones from the evening.
Expected.
So much closure now,
Under the
and
sea.
you yourself said you woke up this morning feeling this. I can't remember what word you used, but you used a brilliant way
I
to
want
describe
that
it. Can
out.
you remember how you described how you felt this morning when you woke up?
It was like either serenity or like relief or conclusion or
Serenity is a great one. Relief, conclusion, they're all great ones. So the last question for now is, if the last decade was just success and pace and controversy and irrelevant, tumultuousness and all this stuff wrapped up into a decade, right? What does it feel like looking forward now that you've had this year to be able to collect your thoughts, put them into music, and come through the end of this year looking forward? What does it feel like?
I have absolutely no idea what the next decade holds, and I think that's kind of something I'm going to keep that like it is, because I was always such a planner and such a list maker and lists of dreams and goals and things I wanted to do. And I think my new list will be like places I want to see in the world, adventures I want to have, experiences I want to have, things I want to learn. I think that'll be what the list looks like, because there's always going to be a list. It's me, but it'll be lists of. In quarantine, my list was, I decided to start trying to cook everything that I had always loved to eat but never been able to cook. So there's
Now
always
she
a
makes
goal.
list.
sourdough.
It's been great to
Yes,
connect with
definitely
you
know
on
that.
this. A sincere congratulations from everyone at Apple Music and everyone who subscribes, who loves your music and streams your music. And we're so excited for what's to come. But right now, just to live in this moment, for you to be the Apple Music Songwriter of the Year is so richly deserved, and we're really happy.
I'm really grateful, and I'm so thankful to everyone who listens, and also everybody just on your platform who is so creative and believes in artists and lifts us up and supports us, and that includes you. So thank you so much for everything, and for always being a good friend and a great person to talk to, and a great person who listens. I know you've heard all this a million times because everyone loves you,
Yeah, he
but
listens
I hope you
well.
have a really great holiday season, and it's much appreciated.
Thank you, Taylor. Be safe, be well, have a great holiday, and to the future.
Thank you. Bye.
Oh wow, so professional, so well done. That was a
Mhm.
great interview, and what a nice treat to have when you're not getting to see them perform live as much as you wanted.
Yeah.
Just to have like such a great, genuine conversation that he was able to get so many different trails of thought that really elaborates to the space that she was able to get into, right?
Mhm.
And I think for us, what's so cool about this moment for us is like, now which way do we go from this? And I really
Yeah.
like the way that we have done this. We're almost doing it like inside out, where we're coming from this angle to here, and I feel like coming from here to here now will make so much more sense,
Yeah.
because there's so much allusion to the past now, and then it's like being, now we have the ability to understand where it's all gonna go, and then you can kind of have it's like, for me, I always bring this up, but Breaking Bad and then Better Call Saul's before, right?
Yeah.
So you kind of know where a lot of these characters are gonna go, but that didn't take away from the show at all.
No, it
It actually
didn't.
somewhat enhanced it. So for me, knowing that epoch and why there's such different epochs, specifically because of the event that happened to basically the whole world as we all felt
Mhm.
it. But like, I'm really excited to know where you guys really want us to move forward, because that's where my heart is tugging, is starting towards the beginning. A lot of comments now are even and even suggestions for the reactions are for the older stuff, and I think it has a lot to do with the headspace, even to know how to get there. And getting this interview is the first time I really understood her headspace, like from her own mouth, and it makes so much sense.
It really does. And even just to hear her that talk about like how Evermore was really like a pure album. It was an album that came from a creative chaos that just came from fate, versus versus a directed album, like a debut where you're like, I want
There's
this
a
to
goal.
go big. There's a goal towards it.
Yeah,
There's a goal towards an album that you're trying to get album of the year or a Grammy or whatever the album may be. So even Taylor liked how he used the word pure with
for
the
sure. A lot
creative
of it was a reaction.
juices that were like coming through with it.
Mhm.
And so it's really such a unique place. They're both out of their room. They're both coming downstairs right now. It's really such a unique place where we got to see Evermore and get to see this interview where Taylor even gets to express that difference between getting to create an album with that creative chaos versus one that she has directed towards it, wanting it to be successful, right, and having that goal in mind. So I think going back and like seeing that juxtaposition between those two styles of albums and going back to the beginning would be a really cool place to start off.
I totally agree. We have the kiddos walking, so we better get going so nothing starts going bash, bang, boom. If they do come down, you might be able to say hello. They always love coming down here, sitting in here, and like pretending like they're mommy
They're
and
putting the
daddy.
headphones on, they're reactive,
It's
they're
so
ready
cute.
to
We'll have
go.
to get a picture one time for you guys. But I hope you guys had a good time with us. Sure is a great way to end it when you get to hear the kids and just see how much it lights our day up too. Just the way that you guys light our day, especially by showing up all the time. You guys have been so consistent, Swifties. It's lovely. Please hit the like button if you had a good time with us. Comment down below what your thoughts about from some of the things we're even talking about through this interview, especially just the video itself. And on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button if you are not a Chronican yet. But if you do want to go the extra mile and join the hundreds of Swifties on our Patreon, you can by becoming a free member yourself or testing out our free trials where we have 3 tiers that provide different perks, with 2 of them even giving you monthly requests. But until next time now, we are exiting the rabbit hole, folks.
Thank you so much, everyone, for being a part of Enter the Chronic's Rabbit Hole. This has been absolutely fantastic. I can't wait to see you all next time as we have more Taylor Swift coming down the rabbit hole. Peace and love, everyone.
God bless y'all.
Take care, and bye for now.